Hello everyone, Derek Floyd here. Welcome to Chasing the Impossible. As always, we have an incredible special guest for you, and today is no different. And if you remember, like you know I do, the biggest R&B selling band of all time, Boyz II Men, I know you do, I've got one of the founding members here to talk to us about their journey. Remember I Make Love to You, On Bended Knee, Motown Philly, man, so many hits. These guys have done it all. But before I introduce my guest, let me make sure you know how to do this right. So if you enjoy the content you see here, please hit us with a like or subscribe to the channel. This lets us get the most updated content to you as soon as it's available. Also, all of our segments are powered by and brought to you by IK Multimedia and Lewitt Microphones. Now, without further ado, let me introduce one of the most incredible songwriters, producers that we've ever heard, Grammy Award winning, and has his own solo projects out as well. Let's get to know Shawn Stockman. Shawn, you there, my friend?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Check
there
1, 2.
He is. What's good, brother?
How you doing, man? What's happening?
Man, you rocking that red, though. You got that happening.
Red's my favorite color. And, I like red, amongst other colors, but this is like my favorite. There's something about red. It just goes well with my black skin.
That's your vibe. That's your vibe right there, bro.
That's my vibe. Yes, sir.
Well, man,
how you been, man?
Man, I'm good, man. Staying away from COVID, staying in my office. I ain't going nowhere, bro. It's crazy, right? What about you?
Yeah, it's crazy, and especially out here in California, where the numbers are spiked, and I just watched on the news that 1.3 million people flew on planes just yesterday.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm just trying to understand. I do understand. I understand the plight of Americans that a lot of them are losing their businesses, their houses, their clothes, the money's running out, and everybody just wants some form of release and escape. But you have to ask yourself, what are you escaping to? You're escaping to more issues, more potential exposure to a virus that we still haven't locked down. So
man.
Listen, I can't speak for everybody because I don't know everybody's issue. Everybody's
right.
Living arrangements are probably a lot more different than mine. So I can't
sure.
really say too much. But at the same time, I do get it. I do understand the wanting to get out and the anxiety of staying indoors and stuff like that. But we got to do it, man. Like because people are dying.
And we got to look at it now, especially for the creatives, as the time to create. You're home now. You're in a space where you can be making music like you. You can be in a world where you're actually putting those juices to work instead of traveling, instead of being all over the place. You actually have an opportunity to turn it around, right?
Yeah, I've done more this year creatively than I've done in a few years, to be very honest. Like, and it ranged from all types of things, from scoring for a documentary to making music for a commercial to doing features and more features and like it's actually been quite productive in this little space, and that's what's so crazy. It's like we live in a day and age now where studios are great still, to be able to go to a different environment, a different vibe and energy. Like it's almost nostalgic to some degree when you go to a studio, because it does present a different type of energy, but you can get just as much done in the corner of your own little house.
Yes, sir.
And all it takes is just key components, obviously by IK Multimedia. and just
Nicely
a
done.
creative,
I'm
saying, and just a creative mind, and that's all you really need. It's like just watching YouTube videos of producers like Henny of the business, and seeing how productive he is with just an iPad. He's one of the dopest out.
Shout to Henny. He's one of the best out there.
Shout out to Henny, and just seeing what can be done with minimal things. It's amazing. This is an amazing time for creators, because we can do practically every and anything just by sitting on our couches.
Well, man, we didn't even try to go to this topic, but it is deep like that, and I appreciate you sharing your wisdom on it. I want to let the subscribers hear a little bit about the man Shawn Stockman. So let's let's dip back a little bit and kind of take a
Hmm.
look at who you are and who the group is. And you guys are the biggest R&B group, selling group of all time. So over 60, was it over 65 million records? Like holy moly, bro! So you guys
Yeah,
have done stuff that nobody else has done. And
yeah.
that's got to put you in a space where, okay, what do we do next, right? Like, and I bet you, my question in that is, did you ever wake up one day and go, how the heck did I get here? What?
I do.
How do we
I
get
do
here?
quite often. I do quite often. And listen, what's happened in my life and in my career, I do not take for granted one bit. My life has not sucked, and it's been a wonderful journey and experience. But I feel like there's even more to do, and there's more to accomplish. It's a new industry now, so
Mm,
to be able to thrive and to make records that connect with people in this day and age is a new goal for me. Is it's
mm,
something that I want to be able to feel like I can do, and that I'm able to do and create uh, in this climate.
mm, mm.
It's one of the biggest things about success is that it's a gift and it is a curse, because
Mm.
people not only make you live up to that particular standard, but they
Mhm.
also can pigeonhole you in that time, that moment
Mhm.
in time.
Mhm.
So you're constantly fighting against yourself, and you're fighting against what it is, the legacy that you've created, which again, it's a
Mm.
gift and it's a
Yeah.
curse. So it's one of those things where you're blessed and you feel blessed about all the things that has happened, but it is the past, and
Mm.
you want to be able to create things in the present,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
hopefully establish things in the future. So I've been trying my best to uh, organically find ways for me to do what I do naturally,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it not seem like I'm trying to fit in, because I'm an artist. I don't want to fit in.
There
I
it
actually
is.
want to stick out like a sore thumb. But
Wow.
there's ways to do it, and a lot of it is calculation,
Mhm.
preparation,
Mhm.
but it's also timing.
Mm.
You can't rush, or you can't force anything when it comes to the creative process. You have
Mm.
to do things where it feels the most good, because if it feels
Yeah.
good to you innately, then it's going to feel good to other people.
Mm. Mm. And that really brings me to a question where, with so much success as the group, Boys to Men, which we all know and love, and big shout out to the rest of the fellas out there. Um,
For sure.
uh, you
My
know,
guys.
yes, yes, your brothers for life.
Hmm.
Did you ever feel like it was difficult to be your own identity within the group? And where are you on that journey now? Because the group is one organism all by itself. But then there's Shawn
Yeah.
Stockton, the songwriter, producer, singer. And where does that identity fit within that?
Yeah. You always tend to find yourself getting lost in the rabbit hole of success. Again, success is a gift and a curse. Right? You embellish in all of the awards and accolades, and somewhat of the decadence, and you enjoy it, but you can lose yourself. And being an individual in between uh, two of some of the greatest singers in the world, um, you can get a little self conscious. I've been self conscious most of my years in this group, because because of the fact that these guys are so good at what they
They are
do.
two of the baddest boys in
And
the world, just like you. They are two of the
yeah,
baddest.
no, they're crazy. So it's like they inspire, um, and sometimes intimidate in a good way. Like it sparks uh, wanting to be better. So me literally being the middle child in this group,
Wow.
um, I've suffered from that syndrome to some degree, um, and which is one of the reasons why I think me doing the things that I'm doing now are so important. It's they're not huge money makers. Some of them aren't money makers at all. It's just being able to express oneself uh, and promote one's individuality within a group that was so massive.
Mm,
And
mm.
it's been fun. It's been frustrating because it's almost like uh, this is a bad analogy, but it's the only thing I could think of because it's so early. But it's that girl who's really really fine
Mm-hmm.
that no one really wants to get to know past her body.
Right. I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I
she could
got.
be really smart. She
Mm-hmm.
could
Mm-hmm.
have some really interesting perspectives on life. She
Mm-hmm.
could probably like the same video games you play, but you can't get past that Coke bottle. And for her, that's probably frustrating because
mm.
she is looked at as just this,
Wow. Wow.
and that's it. And that's kind of the frustration that I go through, not like manic frustration. I want people to think that
Mm-hmm.
I'm walking around the house like, ah, but
mm-hmm.
there's frustration that comes with wanting to be viewed uh, deeper than what people know you for, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it takes time, and
Yeah.
that's what I said. It's like it's all about timing and
Mm.
linking up with the right individuals to you know that understands exactly what it is you're going through, or understand what it is you want to do,
Mm.
and then going about ways of actually making it happen.
And that brings me to the thought of, you were with these guys for how many years now? 25 years? You've been with them a long time. These are your brothers now. That's
Uh,
family.
act- Actually, it's going to be officially 30 in the business, but we've
Wow.
been
Wow.
together for about 34, 35 years. Yeah.
So that's family
Longer than
for real.
some
That's it.
marriages.
Yeah, I'm saying you've been together longer. We've been married, so that's it, man. You guys are family.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
with all families come disagreements. They come the arguments. How did you keep
Hmm.
the quote unquote marriage together with the fellas all these years?
Um, we never take certain things too deep. We fight, we argue, we get over it.
Mm,
Just that's pretty
mm.
much how it goes. It's like,
Wow.
it's one of those things where, and it's just like a marriage, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that people get divorced. Well, one of the reasons I don't want to get this into this conversation, but I think one of the reasons, let me specify, is why people get divorced is because they've both people have lost a level of value to one another.
Mm,
Like there's nothing else to value. There's nothing else to fight for.
mm,
There's
mm,
nothing else that is deemed special
mm, mm, mm.
about the relationship, which is why
Mm-hmm.
people break up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, we've always felt that there was always something special about us in our connection in
Wow.
our relationship. We've understood that despite whatever we go through, we know that we would not find anything better than this.
Mm. That's good.
Meaning the group in our connection,
Mm,
because we've been together for so long. Um,
mm,
I think that's what keeps every relationship together.
mm,
You
mm.
understand that despite the disagreements and the arguments and having knockdown drag out, sometimes in our case fisticuffs,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, we love each other enough to know that um, we don't want to be too far apart from each other for too long.
Mm. I love
And
it. I love
and
it.
that's a brotherhood, that's a friendship, and that's a relationship. We talk practically every day still anyway. Like even
Wow.
being away from each other like this, if it's not a text or some funny meme we send each other, whatever, like we're brothers. You know what I mean? Like
Wow.
we're family, just like you mentioned
Mm.
it. And it's a relationship beyond even the music. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
It's yeah, it's something else, man. And it's to have that type of brotherhood and that type of connection with your
Hmm.
other brothers is very rare, which is
And it
why we
comes
stay
across on
together because
stage.
we,
It comes across when you guys are
yeah,
together. It's you can't fake that. It's either real or it's not.
yeah,
When you guys have
yeah.
that together, you know.
It's all natural, man.
Yeah, that's
We
magical.
actually really do like each other.
Speaking of the fellas, man, you guys all grew up in different parts of Philly, from what I understand.
Hmm.
And you know, how
Yep.
do you feel that time as youngsters growing up together? How do you feel like that helped you become who you are today? How do you feel like that shaped you?
Oh, it shaped us in a big way. Philly's a huge breeding ground for music and musicians and artistry and all of that. I mean, we literally have a street, a long street and broad street in South Philly that is dedicated to the arts only. So, and not to mention the Philly sound and just being around that uh, ecosystem of creatives, it just, again, it breeds great things. I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not just us. It's, I can run down a million people from Philadelphia that the world knows about, from Will Smith to Jazzy Jeff to Jill Scott to Jasmine Sullivan to Amel Rue to the Roots to I can go on and on and on. There's like Tamik Mills. That there's a lot of people from the city of Philadelphia, who for years
And
consistently
the
is
'70s
created
was
great music.
Philadelphia sound. So don't forget about the
Yeah, let's not
'70s, man.
even go to the 70s. You
You
know
had
what
a
I'm saying? The
lot of
OJ's,
music come
Patti
out of the Philly
LaBelle,
sound. Come on, man.
Gamblin' Huff, who made the
Yeah, Gamble and
Jacksons,
Huff took the
album,
'70s. Ugh, you know.
yeah, I mean, we Philly is real, right? It's a real musical place, and it always has been. So
Mm-mm.
it's only if you had the gift, if you were born with the gift, it was only a matter of time before you were inspired by something that was going on in the city, and that's what happened to us.
Man, I love that. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So, you know, you are the superstar. You have made it to the top, 64 million records. You've touched the pinnacle. You sang with everybody. How do you balance
Mhm.
Shawn Stockman, the father, the husband, with Shawn Stockman, the superstar? How does that balance out?
Well, lately it's been really easy because I have nowhere to go. So, like my kids and my wife see my ugly behind every day. So, they pretty much, it's not
they,
me dealing with them, it's them dealing with me.
they
So,
tired of you now. Get your butt back on the road.
right,
Go
right, yeah, exactly.
on.
So, um,
Oh,
but
shoot.
for the most part, man, it's like we learned very early, um, from mentors of ours when we first started in this game, that you got to keep your personal life separate from your business life. And sometimes they intermingle, but for the most part, when I'm in a road and when I'm working, I'm working. I'm on. I'm that guy. And then when I'm
Mm-hmm.
home, I shut it down. I shut it off. There's no egos here. There's never
Mm,
been an ego with me. I never walked in my own house and said, "Hey,
mm.
Shawn Stockman from Boyz II Men is here." It's like,
Oh, wow. Which we do
I'm,
have
I'm,
folks
I'm
like that, man. So it's a blessing you're not like that. You're super humble.
yeah, that's weird. I would never understand like why you would even present yourself in front of like people who see you wake up in the morning with morning breath. So it's like, it's like there's nothing uh well, there's nothing different with me, about me rather, uh at home or on stage, except
Mm.
my experiences with each entity.
Mm.
And that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
With
yeah.
fans and with people in crowds and stuff like that. Like, I
Mm.
enjoy that interaction. That's one half of me,
Right,
and
right.
that is a part that I love and I miss. I miss
Mm.
my fans, and I miss our fans, and our supporters and the screaming crowds and things of that nature. And
Hmm.
it sucks that it doesn't look like we're going to see them anytime soon.
No, man.
Um,
Not anytime soon,
but
bro.
you know what I mean, like,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then when I'm home, it's like, yeah, I also crave the normalcy, to be
Mm,
able to go to the supermarket, get turkey
mm.
bacon, go to Whole Foods, get my favorite, protein shake, and
Right.
peruse down the aisles of, new vegan snacks that I want to try. It's all of those things are a balance. And I guess because I'm a Libra, that kind of makes it like even more so.
Mm,
I need both to be
nice.
able to entertain, to record, to sing, but I also need the exact opposite, the stripped down to be able to kind of hang out, take walks,
Mm.
smell flowers, eat grapes with my son
I
and just kind
love
of
it.
hang out.
So
Yeah.
that kind of curtails the question I was going to ask, because some people get all in their head, but they always have like one or two folks in the family that can be like, "Look, Negro, you still so and so from down the block." I mean, do you have those
Yeah.
friends that are in your corner that always keep you grounded, keep you remembering you still just Shawn Stockman, you my boy from so and so? You got those
You
friends?
know what? I have the friends that remind me that I'm famous because I forget.
Wow,
It's the opposite. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
kind of
Like,
crazy.
I'm the guy that just like, yeah, I'm gonna go here. They're like, no, you can't go there. I was like,
Never
well,
thought
why
about it
not?
that way.
Well, you know what I'm saying? I'm that dude. Like, I'm the dude that is like, yeah, let's go to
Yeah.
such and such, or yeah, or why don't people, you know, I'm trying to think of a scenario, but there have been times where my friends have called me and say, yo, dude, you shouldn't have said that. Like, said what? I was like, dude, you are who you are, right? I was like, what do you mean? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
sometimes I forget. I
That's
don't.
wisdom. That's wisdom.
Yeah. So it's like I don't look at myself any more special, or I don't know. It's like
That's
I
cool.
never tripped on the fame. So friends, there are friends of mine, including my wife, that have to remind me, like, yo, you're who you are. Like,
Yeah.
remember
Remember.
that. Like, yeah,
Remember
yeah.
who you
Like, cause I don't.
represent. Remember who you represent
Yeah,
too, you know?
because I
Yeah.
forget.
Wow. Wow. That's a cool thing to know you just not tripping with it. But at the same time you got the people around you that
Yeah.
say, look, man, you have to represent. You gotta think who you are, what you stand for. People are out there watching. My mom always just
Right.
said, no matter what you're doing, people watching. So you got to make
Right.
sure you can't just be clowning because people are looking to see what you're doing. You're gonna be on
Or
TNT next
not.
week. You know they don't
Or
care, right?
or or not even clowning, but it's just more so like sometimes I'll divulge personal information about myself.
Mm,
Sometimes, not too deep, but like
yeah,
certain things where even my wife look over like, don't tell nobody that.
that ain't nobody's business. Don't tell them that.
Right, right. And a lot of times and a lot of times I forget because it's like I'm
Mm,
just so kind of like I'm just
yeah,
I'm just
just a
having a
regular
conversation.
dude.
And then right, and then, but I do understand that. I do understand that there are certain things, again, going back to keeping your private life private and your business life business, because
Mm,
especially now we live in a world of, exposés and people wanting to say things about you and dig dirt and whatever and all this other stuff. So it's like, you tend to, forget that those people are out there. Like, because I'm a forever optimist. Like,
mm.
I never feel like, I always think that there's good in everybody, and sometimes
Sometimes that'll
that
bite you.
works. Yeah, it'll bite me, and it's bitten me a lot.
Mm.
So, which is again one of the things that my wife and my friends have to remind me, like, yo, you are who you are. Like, don't expose yourself to just anybody, because somebody could
Wow.
actually use it to their, to my disadvantage.
Wow. Which curtails us to, the music business as a whole. And, when you guys first got started with Motown Philly and Michael Bivins and the crew, how that whole thing blew up, the game has changed so much right
Yeah.
now. What would you say to the guy that's, okay, I want to be Shawn Stockman. I want to go make all these records, blah, 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 blah. What would you tell him now? Because the game isn't the same. He can't start the same way. It's a whole different ballgame, right?
Well, yeah. Well, first thing I would tell them is like, you can't be Shawn Stockman, because how Shawn Stockman grew up in the industry, that industry doesn't exist anymore. So for, an artist to actually sell 10 million records in a year, it's not going to happen anymore, because of just how, literally records are, uh, distributed to the public.
Mhm.
So those days of diamond albums and 30 million albums sold on one record, it's very, very few and far between. Not saying that it can't happen, but it doesn't happen as frequently as it used to when I was coming up.
For sure, for sure.
And and two, I mean, really, that's just it. Like, it's the industry has lent itself, to be very honest, to the artist. And I'm a little disappointed in the lag time that it's taking artists to understand that. It's there's so much information and so many things that are accessible to an aspiring singer, or a producer, that uh, if applied, they could understand that the model that I came up in is antiquated. Like, it's not, it's really, like, people that hold on to that old model are hanging on by a thread, because they don't want to lose the power.
So
Because there's
true.
a lot of
So true.
power
So
in being
true.
able to influence an artist to say, "Hey, I can do this for you. I can do
Hmm.
that for you.
Hmm.
Look how shiny this coin is. See the dangling carrot?"
Hmm. Hmm.
And the bottom line is the truth is that there are people that are getting their thing off with just a phone.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
not even anything else but a phone. So
Shout out to IK Multimedia on that one, making tools to get into
right,
your phone. Come on, IK. There it
right,
is.
yeah, exactly. So to be able to, use amplitude, plug it into your guitar, turn on your camera using an amplitude ring light, or IK multimedia ring light, and record yourself singing incredibly, and putting it out on the internet, and then doing it again, and then doing it again, and then doing it again, someone's going to see you. And then you now have the negotiation power of acquiring what it is that you want. And it's all with a phone and your gift. That's all you
That's
need
awesome.
these
Wow,
days.
I love that. A
And
phone in
and
your
and and,
gift.
and so that's what I would tell an artist. I was like, listen, you can bypass being Shawn Stockman. You can get to where I had to get to a hell of a lot faster than uh, when I had to go on a 10-month promotional tour and do all this other stuff just to get people to like you. Like, you can
Wow.
do what I did at half the time, and gain followers, not just in your respective country, but other countries as well. So
Ah,
I again, I cram to understand, as MC Light used to say, you know, uh, why artists are taking so long to realize that. It's just that everyone's so dependent on the system.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
And
it's
the
the
system has
system that's
changed.
the system's changed, and the system knows that it's changed. But they're still hanging on to, people who want to hang on to it. So they're like,
Yeah.
okay, if you want to do that, fine. But there's ways to get yourself known and famous, sorry, and moving around without Big Brother.
And speaking of new ways, you and the boys, you guys went on a Vegas residency, which was a pretty
Hmm.
amazing move to make. That's not something that we would have even thought ahead of time. But wow, what a
Yeah.
move that was! What did you learn from that experience doing a Vegas residency for so long?
Uh, it was, I learned that, again, this there's life after what you were initially known for. Like, there are people from all walks of life that has and still come to our shows and listen to our songs and go back to that, those times where they first heard End of the Road or whatever. But Vegas allowed us to also show people that we're more than those songs. And I think it's more of not just, it's not us learning anything. It's people learning us. Like and learning
I like that. I like that.
that we're deeper than, again, having that conversation that I mentioned before, that pretty girl that everybody like, looks
Coca-Cola
at as
bottle.
this. Well, yeah, the Coke bottle. Like, we're deeper than the Coke bottle. Like, and I think it, and I'm proud to say that uh before this pandemic, we were nominated and or won best Vegas show, best show in Vegas. So it because people come to the show expecting one thing and they leave uh with something else, and they're like, "Holy
Wow.
cow! I didn't
Wow.
think they played guitar. They did this, they did that, they changed clothes, they did, they sang a
Yeah.
cappella, they sang the hit records, but they also did, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was more, it was not so much us learning anything, even though you learn every day, but I think for the most profound uh, education was with with the audience.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And here you are now. These years have passed. Residency is over because of COVID, obviously. But in the midst of
Hmm.
all that, you were creating solo records, and you
Hmm.
just dropped one in April called
Yeah.
Forward. Tell
Yeah.
the people a little bit about that, man, because I've listened to it. It's really amazing, but we don't get R&B like that
Thank you.
anymore. So I'm like, where's
Well,
everybody at with this record?
well, that's the thing, man. It's like it's all about information, and I like to use the term of trumpet blowing. It's like it's all about who or how loud you can blow your trumpet. And again, even me, I'm admitting to being, uh, I guess you could say, enslaved to the old model. Signing to a record company, small, but it was because I entrusted my first solo effort with people who, for the record, did okay, but again, their trumpet wasn't loud enough or shiny
Yeah.
enough
Yeah.
in order for people to understand exactly what it was I was doing. Now, I'm happy to say that people who did find the record and played the record enjoyed the record. I have not heard not one bad thing, which is great.
It's a beautiful
So
thing.
so in that respect, it was a success. But again, I'm in the business of commercial art. I'm an artist, but I'm in a commercial artist. So you want, or rather, I want my music to be heard by everybody, as many people, and maybe again, Boys to Men being a gift and a curse. Like, we have a worldwide audience, and a lot of them didn't hear about it. The beautiful thing about music, though, you can always discover it later. But um, this was my first solo effort. I was very proud of it. This was my way of kind of ex- reintroducing myself to people who knew me for, again, the guy in Boys to Men, which is why the album is called Forward. A forward is the introduction to a book, basically letting before you start getting into the innards of what the book is about. uh it kind of sets you up, and almost like a hello, this is what the book is, this is what it entails. And so, Forward is my saying, hi guys, my name is Shawn Stockman. I know you know me as the guy in Boys to Men, but here's another part of me that I'm uh ready to explore with you, if you're willing to take that ride with me. So, in hopes that this is the first of many, many chapters, in my book, which is why it's called Forward.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And, as we've taken up a bunch of your time today, I really appreciate you just stopping just to
No, it's
vibe
cool.
with us. I'm going to end us with this last question because you just kind of started off us in that space. And with all the success, all the ups and downs, the hills and valleys, where do you see Shawn Stockman? I can't. Where do you see Shawn
It's
Stockman
okay.
next? I mean, you've done every. Would you say you've done everything you wanted to accomplish in music, and there's something else? There's more. Where are you going
Oh,
from here?
there's much more. There's much more. There's much more I want to do. More so on the side of establishing my identity as an individual uh, in a very popular group, and in many ways, not just to solo efforts, but uh, I love producing, I love songwriting, I love the idea of maybe discovering the next Boyz II Men, or
Mm.
discovering just another great artist that will help change the landscape of music. I feel like that's my natural progression. As I get older, I'll always do music in some respect, whether it's behind the scenes and scoring, which I'm aforementioned. I love scoring. I love um, creating the music that people hear.
Mm.
Um, on top of doing virtual festivals, this is what this hat is. It's the YFPF, which is my first effort in doing virtual festivals. So uh,
Which is
in
amazing. We talked about it. It's pretty
yeah,
incredible what you're doing.
thank you. Which is helping to promote artists and exposing them to an audience that they may not have been able to expose themselves to themselves. So,
Mm.
it's those things. It's you know doing business with great companies and helping to steer where music goes in my own little way, in my own little contribution, in hopes that it inspires uh, more or larger moves, and just
Mm.
being a part of that. That's it. So
That's a lot
music
right
is
there.
my life.
That's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, 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 yeah. Music's my life, and I
Yeah.
just want to be able to continue to do it in ways that really make an impact, uh,
Wow.
and more than just me singing a song.
Well, I can sit back and listen to all the things you've done along the way and then where you're headed and know that you've created an amazing legacy with your fellas, the Boys to Men, but you're creating a legacy on your own as Shawn Stockman. And for other individuals out there to follow, not to emulate, but to follow, to learn from, to do this
Right.
thing right. And we appreciate all the things you've done for us in the industry for the R&B, all that you've done in music, period. Thank you, man. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
out there and bringing us to this space and giving us great music all these years, man. All these years we've been able to keep listening to you. So, and like you said, music never dies. So we still play
Yeah.
those records. It's not like you played them for a year and then they're
Right.
done. They still play those
Right.
records all the time. So you've
That's right.
left
That's
a
right.
legacy. You left a legacy. So you've done an amazing
Thank
thing.
you.
So thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you.
It's
Appreciate you.
my pleasure to serve.
And you and I gonna do some things coming up. You guys don't know yet, but Sean and I got something coming for you in the next few months or
Yeah, I
so.
didn't want
So
to mention
just,
it
oh
because
no, I'm just gonna
but
say we cooking something up in the kitchen for you. So just get ready. Ain't that right, Sean? We got something for you.
yes,
So y'all
sir.
just
Yes,
get
sir.
ready
No,
for it. And
it's gonna
man,
be real dope too.
it's gonna be real serious. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. So, Sean, again, thank you for taking the time, man. Blessings to you and your
Yes,
family.
sir.
And we send
Yeah.
love to everybody out there. And for everybody that's watching the last of this segment, we appreciate, what you're doing. And we just want y'all to feel like, hey, this was where we could go. If he could get to his impossible, I can get to mine too. So we hope that you've enjoyed this segment. As always, we tell you to be safe out there, wash hands, wear your mask. Let's get through this COVID thing together. And if you're creative out there, just like Sean said, here's your time to start creating. Be at home, but be at home making music, making something happen. Whatever you create, do it now. You've got some time. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. Take care. Have a great one now.